you know what, why don't you go inside and I'll take it from here. And so I started the same thing. First three, he was all excited, he could do it. By about the fourth one, his lips started to quiver, and then he started to cry when he missed the fifth one. And I looked him square in the eye and said, there is no crying in baseball. You just knock it off right now. And his eyes got big. I said, and we are not going in the house until you hit this ball. And so we stayed in the yard, and I made him take it like a man, and we stayed there until he hit the ball. Because imagine if he went into Little League or something with that mama's boy model, and when he missed a pitch, he started crying. Can you imagine the horror that would await that young boy in life? I mean, I can't even imagine how he would be treated by the other kids. But that's part of our, like, incorporation. I'm not saying one is right or the other is wrong. It's just in our society, we have certain gender expectations of people. And if you're not acting in accordance with your gender roles, people will start to assume stuff about you or think things about you that may not even be true. But Carol's saying, think about the female virtues. Use them to, like, supplement or add to some of these ones you've already seen. And she's saying we'll probably get a much better ethic. Especially if you expect women to participate in ethics. I mean, they are half the population. Well, maybe we should get some of their input into the discussion and dialogue. And this is not Carol Gilligan, but as I was looking at this, I couldn't help thinking about how Jesus embodies, like, both sides of this spectrum, which is kind of amazing. He was very much a man's man. He was strong. He was a leader. He wouldn't back down. He knew what was right and just, but he was also gentle, kind, meek, lowly, patient, long-suffering, forgiving, all those traits. And I think as Christians, that's something we could really sort of embrace, is this idea of whether you're a man or a woman, you can embrace, through Christ at least, both of these sides of the spectrum, these virtues. All of these have their attaching vices that go with them, right? I mean, there's a good type of pride, and there's a bad type of pride. There's a good type of reason, and there's rationalization, right? There's a good kind of emotion, it's good to feel, and there's an emotion that can be debilitating. Right? So, I don't know, what do you guys think about this one? What would you do if you got this on the midterm? The Nazis come knocking at your door? Are you hiding Jews in the attic? And you're an ethic of care theorist? What would you say or do? Nazis are people too, right? They're somebody's little boy. Maybe the little boy's gone bad, but they still got mamas out there. Go ahead, Kaylee.
Would you have to answer in the sense that because I am a woman, I need to act in my...
No, a man could use this too.
Well, but the way you answer the question would depend on whether it's a man or a woman.
No, it's if you're practicing ethics of care, how would you answer? Doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. A man can practice ethics of care, maybe not as well as a woman, but I think maybe with some training and practice. Maybe if he got in touch with his feelings and inner self, maybe in touch with his feminine side, he could do better at it. Yes?
Well, you could say, no, I don't have Jews, because then you'd be merciful towards the Jews. But then couldn't they conflict? Because what if you want to be merciful towards the Nazis and tell them where the Jews are or whatever? So what would you do then?
Yeah, but see, if they knew where the Jews were, then they'd probably do bad things to the Jews, and then it would make them even worse people. And so you'd actually be helping them out by not letting them get their hands on the Jews. So maybe how about like this? So they ask if you have any Jews in town, and you say, whoa, is that a Bavarian accent? Or your friend looks like someone I knew once from Swabia. come on in. I had a good college friend from Swabia, and I got some muffins in there, and I could put on some tea, and you could just sit around and chat, ask about their family, and just forget about the Jews. They don't need to know about Jews or not Jews. Just treat the Nazis as people, and people who are far away from home who could use a little TLC. And probably by the end of that, they'll just be thanking you, and it will be like a safe house for the next 4 years, right? Ethics of care. It's not all about lying, telling the truth, right or wrong, black or white. It's about people, caring, loving, sharing.
How does this show justice?
Well, you don't want to completely throw justice out, but mercy rejoices against justice. So there's a time where you just have to say, you know what? I know the just thing is to throw you out on your ear, but I'm going to be merciful. Now, there might be a point where you have to show love by not giving mercy anymore, because we could become enablers. Right? We could kind of perpetuate someone's destructive behavior or lifestyle. It's like with you guys. I love to be merciful to you. If you're having some issue or you need another chance or you couldn't write a paper for some reason, I want to help you out. But if I start to see a pattern and I'm like aiding and abetting your poor performance or behavior where you can't ever get anything done on time or you can't do the work or things like that, if I just keep giving you mercy, I'm actually going to hurt you for the rest of your life if I build these bad patterns into you. Does that make sense? So sometimes the merciful thing is to hold people accountable.
So maybe you wouldn't give them over to the Nazis, but you tell them to get out of Dodge?
Oh, the Jews, like, you know what, I've been enabling your freeloading behavior for too long. You guys need to get across the border. Yeah, maybe. Maybe it's just like, you know what, we've been here for 6 weeks, it doesn't look like the Nazis are leaving, so maybe we need a new plan. Yeah, that would be an appropriate way to go. It's not that I don't like you, I enjoy helping you, it's just it's time to move it. Yes?
According to ethics of care, are there any qualifiers or anything to let you know which side of the spectrum you're supposed to go on, or is it all just opinion-based?
It's pretty open.
So it boils down to just the individual, and it's very subjective. It's whether they think mercy should be given or justice should be given.
Now, if we had Carol Gilligan here, she might say, no, I didn't mean it for it to be that relative or subjective. I mean, maybe she does have some guidelines, but I don't know the depths of her theory. I only know what was represented in our book, because that's the first time I ever heard of it. I mean, I've looked her up online and looked at some of her research and studies, and I think it's really fascinating. And I think it's true how she came to this conclusion. And see, I think over the years we could get more and more chapters added to the book. Because what about black ethics? Or what about Southeast Asian ethics? Or what about Native American ethics? Don't they see the world differently than white America or white American males? I would think probably, yes. And maybe they have something to contribute. Not saying that we just throw out all the white Western European male philosophies, but, you know, did you take into account this? Or did you take into account the importance of living in harmony with the earth? I mean, I haven't seen that in any of these ethics yet. So, I mean, I think there could be a lot to add. And also, and more you're starting to see this, like you would have like a cross-cultural ethics. And who knows, we may even move that way here someday, where I can teach ethics from not just a white Western European model, but from a Chinese model, from maybe a Muslim model, from different African models, Native American models. And it would give you such a huge perspective of how people in the world look at right and wrong. All right, well, I think that's enough for this one. And we'll start on Aristotle on Friday.